Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of... Did we think of a name?
The Invincible review.
Did the Invincible...
We did.
That's a good name, actually. I didn't think of a name. I thought maybe we could
Yeah.
call it, like, Why Eugenics is Justified Sometimes.
Okay, that's the tone we're going for. I'll play. Uh, that's the bar, guys. If you don't like that joke, you might as well tune out now.
That's going to be my role here, because I don't know much about Invincible, to be honest. Well, I've watched it, but I don't know the story around it or where it's going. So I think, in general, I'm just here to be like, haha, lol, look at this joke, and then I'll share also my thoughts as well as we go along.
And you're here to supply the channel. I'm Ian, by the way, for everyone who's not heard of me before, because you don't know me personally.
Yeah.
Wow. And he's Ethan.
I am, although you might know me as Abiz the Plat.
Or the Gazorbatron.
All that.
Just the actual channel. You're really shit at this YouTube thing.
Because I hate saying that name out loud. Whenever I say that, I feel my skin crawling. Like, oh yeah, this is my YouTube channel name. Like, hello guys. I should just change my name to that legally, so it's not weird anymore. But I think it's not a very good name. And whenever I say it, everyone always thinks it's from Rick and Morty, which isn't. But
it is.
But well, no, the Rick and Morty thing is called like the Absorbazorp or something.
Gazorbatron.
No, Gazorpazorp. That's it.
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I should have gone full in and just called myself the Absorbaloff. That'd be way more, way more like that.
He's made this joke like 15 times already.
Stand back, Absorbaloff.
Go watch the Doctor Who episode if you haven't. Right, so
it's like your official recommendation.
I thought you were going to be the corralling one, and I was going to be the wild one, but apparently not.
You're the bad boy.
Right, so we're reviewing Invincible today, the new Amazon Prime series. Why do you want to listen to our two opinions, besides obviously the fact that you love Ethan's incredibly thoughtful and beautiful video essays?
Yeah. What's your favourite one, Ian? Put you on the spot.
Post Void is cool.
That's everyone's favourite. It is the best one, to be fair. I don't blame you for that. But
no,
yeah.
I do like violence in movies, but it felt a little long.
It is, but it's extremely long. That could have easily been like 6 minutes. I went on for 26 minutes. It's you getting, because I wanted to cover all the bases, and it's hard to know when to stop. I haven't figured that out yet.
I think you could have just covered that one show that you did at the end with the...
Oh, Utopia. Oh, yeah, easily. I actually easily could have done that. But there's a video very similar to that on YouTube already. It's literally called, like, Why the Violence in Utopia is Disturbing, and it is, like, 6 minutes long. And I saw that, and I was like, wow, I guess I can't do that now, because that's exactly what I wanted to do.
Yeah, speaking about violence in cinema, this show...
it's pretty disturbing.
It's very violent.
It's way worse as well because of how it's set up and then what it turns into. Because, like, you don't expect it to go that far, like, straight away. Like, I think it is rated, like, 15, so you might see that before you watch it and be a bit confused. Be like, oh, okay, why is it rated this high if it's just, like, a G.I. Joe style cartoon show? But, so you think maybe there's a bit more there? Like, there might be a bit of blood, but then when Omni-Man goes into that room and he kills all those people... oh, spoilers! I'll bleep that.
Do not spoilers, I guess that... All right, okay.
No, I'm bleeping that. Okay, when something happens that's quite... Gosh, that's what I say when I watch it.
Stop the tape. Let's all do it again. Yeah, so we're going to go through non-spoilers. This show is very gory.
Yes.
Not into that sort of thing, then this may not be for you. But I think it really adds to the show, and it stays true to the original comic.
Is it? Is the original comic gory?
The comic is very gory as well. I wouldn't even say it's as gory as the show. I think that really comes up in the...
They probably just took the spirit of what the comic was doing and just kind of went next level with it. Wait, is the comic really just like a almost Justice League ripoff for like 8 issues before that event happens?
No. It focuses a lot more on the Guardians of the Globe were very much background characters.
Oh, okay.
Like I was saying earlier, our sort of unique perspective on this is that Ethan has watched just the show, and I watched the show and then read the comic very quickly between the third episode and the fourth episode.
It's also that I've only just watched the show and I really haven't engaged at all with like the fandom or the ideas around it, because I've like seen a couple people recommend it on Twitter, but I haven't like watched any videos like critiquing it or anything, so I haven't actually thought critically about it at all. So this is kind of my attempt to do that almost, and I think in doing that, it'll be a bit more unique. I don't know. We'll see. I think because we got 2 people talking about it who are completely different angles, it might bring up some interesting discussion. But we'll just see, I guess, won't we?
Yeah, I'd say I'm more into like nerd culture in air quotes. So like comic books, comic book movies, and stuff like that. I'm more interested in that kind of thing. Whereas Ethan's more of a
pretentious
for all you other people. Yeah, pretentious.
That's the word for it. There's no getting around it.
He's more into the films and more into film and stuff like that. And we both appreciate each other's sides, but obviously it's just to different extent.
Yeah, it's a bit different.
I know your Dutch angle from your wide angle and stuff like that.
But no, it's a bit different. I think you're not like way too far into it either. Like some people I know, there's a couple of people in my class in college that are super like fanboy comic book people. And they're just going way too hard with that kind of thing, like really just buying into the hype cycle. And I think you can get excited to a certain extent, but if you get too far, you just kind of become blind and you can't really think about anything critically if you're just like blinded by how amazing you assume that it's going to be. So you have to be careful. But I know you're not like that, but there are some people like that.
Yeah, I definitely think that's that is a problem across like all fandoms. But yeah, I don't like buy comics very often. I've got like an issue of Wolverine Max. I've got like Avengers vs X-Men, the trade paperback for that and stuff. But I didn't buy Invincible. I will say I did pirate it.
Well, do you own the Killing Joke?
Morally, probably a bad thing. I do own the Killing Joke.
Okay, I thought you would be a true college. What about Dark Knight Returns? Dark Knight Returns.
I don't have the Dark Knight Returns.
Yo.
I actually have the novelization of the Killing Joke that I got for Christmas. I still need to read.
There's a novelization.
Yes, I'm not sure if it's good. I'm not sure
just
if it's
like
bad.
Alan Moore's written panels, because I know he described his panels very deeply.
I haven't even opened the book, so I will maybe. But like, it's a 46-page comic. I don't understand how they extended the Killing Joke. It might be the novelization of the animated film.
Right. Well, they tried to extend it into a movie, yeah. So it might be a novelization of that, which adds all the preamble and random stuff that no one liked.
So yeah, all the accounts that did not go well.
Yeah, I don't know what they could have done with that.
Sorry, spoilers for the Killing Joke movie. Batman and Batgirl have sex in that movie, which is weird.
There's a weird arc that goes on because they just add that before the Killing Joke.
Had never read a comic. That's like
yeah. Well,
the person who wrote that bit had never like read a fucking Batgirl Batman comic at all, because that is not the relationship they fucking have.
That's really weird because their relationship is more like father-daughter, isn't it, almost?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's really strange. Why would they do that?
Yeah, Ethan will be referring to me for any sort of like vague comic book knowledge. I'm not a scholar by any means.
So
I'm
what
not,
is a Spider-Man?
I'm not Rob from Comic Explained, but I'm pretty good.
But you are a fascist. Just like
I am a massive fascist. We're calling him out.
That is a lot of preamble.
A danger of reviewing Invincible.
Yeah. We could just review every comic book movie instead of
we can. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll review comic book culture. So far, I think the show got renewed for season 2 and 3.
That's good.
Which is obviously
we're both happy about that.
Amazing. Yeah.
2 and 3 as well. That's pretty special. I don't know what the policy is with networks in doing that, but it's really rare to book more than one season of something to put in production. Like, it's really like they think they've hit onto some kind of vein, and they're like, well, we need to tap this out as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I know. The only other word, Critical Role got funded for 2 seasons by Amazon.
Whoa, by Amazon?
By Amazon. I mean, to be fair, they had a Kickstarter that raised 11 million for their independent season.
11 million?
For a Kickstarter, yeah.
That is crazy.
They have a very rabid fan base, which I am...
that's kind of insane.
Part
How many people are in their fan base?
A lot. Like, their subreddit has like over 1 million people.
But but that's an insane ratio of people to donate, right? That's like on average $11 per fan.
I think
like you'd be lucky to get like 1 in every 10 fans to donate to something if you start some kind of Kickstarter. Like, to get every person pretty much signing up, that's an insane level of devotion they must have.
they're they're really ride or die. But back to Invincible.
There's gonna be a lot of tangents like this. Is what I'm predicting.
You can tell Ethan and I are actually friends in real life, because otherwise we wouldn't give a shit.
We go down uncontrollable tangents very often.
Yeah. Also tell that we haven't scripted this or are experienced in podcasting.
No, I'm experienced in listening to podcasts, but not doing them myself, as you might know if you listen to the legendary Spleencast.
Right, yeah, back to the show. They set up an all-star cast for this show. J.K. Simmons, Stephen Yuen, if I'm pronouncing
Yeah,
that
he's
right.
cool. I like Steven.
Zazie Beats. Sorry,
Yeah,
I'm
she's in
English, so I don't
Joker.
understand her name. Yeah, she's in Joker and Deadpool
Oh
and
yeah, she's in
other
Deadpool as well.
things.
Yeah.
Walton
Deadpool's cringe.
Goggins.
Walton Goggins. Wait, who's Walton Goggins?
Walton Goggins is that weird-looking guy with
Uh,
like he's like slightly balding and like his hair's like back and he's got
what, the
weird
FBI
face
guy, the agent guy, not FBI, intelligence guy.
from he plays Cecil.
Oh yeah. I know Cecil. I'm speaking to Cecil right now.
Yes, I'm Ian Cecil, in case anyone cared.
So yeah, okay. Walton Goggins is awesome. I like him.
Yeah, Clancy Brown, Mark Hamill, excellent, all of it.
Who's Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown, he plays Mr. Krabs.
Lex
Luthor in
wow.
the
Okay.
he
great.
plays Lex Luthor in the Justice League animated stuff. He's in Venture Bros. He was the prison in Shawshank Redemption.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. So he's a person people like then, I guess, because you wouldn't.
Yeah, he's in a lot of things. He's a Western star. He's Surly Joe from Buster Scruggs.
Surly Joe. Oh, the guy who says, "You seen him, you play him," and then he gets shot by his own gun when he hits the table.
Yeah.
I love that
Okay.
scene. I'll insert it right now. Whoa, that was a crazy scene. What do you think of that scene, Ian?
I thought it was amazing. I watched that scene last night, literally.
Just on its own on YouTube.
Yeah. No. I watched. I occasionally go back and watch the beginning of Buster Scruggs and the end of Buster Scruggs.
I think my favorite segment probably is the first segment.
I think it's tossed up between the first and the last.
The first
for
really
me.
feels like an early Coen Brothers movie. The first segment of Buster Scruggs, and that's what I like about it. Because their early ones are my favorites, pretty much. Like, well, actually, no, they're not. But they have their own charm that's really unique, and they haven't really done since like early 2000s. Like anything before 2000, like from Lebowski backwards, pretty much has like a really unique charm that they kind of managed to replicate in the second segment as well with James Franco. I love that one because it's very similar, and then they get really serious for a lot of the rest of it, which isn't bad. Like I really do like it, and I guess that's why you would do an anthology for it, because you can have like a bunch of different tones, and as long as you say it's an anthology, they don't really clash with each other, so like you can get away with it. But
anyway,
yeah.
Welcome to the preamble for a review of the movie Buster Scruggs.
Yeah, my
film
favorite
that came out in
segment,
2020.
my least favorite segment was probably number 5 because it was really long. Even
Yeah,
though I
same.
enjoyed it, and I enjoy anything the Coen Brothers do, but number 5 and like the payoff, I don't think was really worth all that time they invested into it either. I felt like they maybe thought they had to fill out some time, maybe, and they added a bunch of stuff about their rodeo where they were taken through the country. I don't know. It was pretty good.
Anyway, Invincible.
Yes.
You are really unfocused today.
Okay. My favorite episode of Invincible is probably the first one.
Really?
Got John Hamm in it, and it has the best twist in all of
instantly gives
gaming.
everything a point.
It has the best twist in all of anime as well. Well, best tone shift in all of anime.
Yeah, there was the twist at the end of the episode. Let's round up our things for the spoiler section since we're not getting anywhere
Yeah. Okay,
anywhere
fair
worse than this. Overall, I think the show is brilliant. I think it's
100% recommended.
yeah. I think it's probably the best superhero media TV show. I think to come out this year.
I think. Honestly, I
it's
can't
the
think
only
of a
one
better.
you've seen, isn't it?
I can't think of a better superhero show I've seen. I haven't. The only Netflix one I've seen is The Punisher, but I'm not really interested in the other ones like Daredevil.
I didn't watch. Yeah, I didn't watch the. Netflix
The
one.
Punisher's
I was
good.
talking about Disney Plus stuff.
Oh.
He hasn't
any of
watched any of the Disney Plus. I liked WandaVision. In case you're wondering, I didn't like the last 3 episodes.
Did you like Falcon and the Winter Soldier?
I did. I didn't like it as much as WandaVision. I liked once again.
WandaVision looks really creative. Falcon and Winter Soldier looks like a bit more typical Marvel. I know they've got some cool stuff, like the Captain America, the new one, is meant to be kind of like a bit of a sleazebag. Doesn't he like kill some Iraqi kid or something? Like he beheads some Iraqi guy with his shield or something like that.
Just going straight to offensive. Yeah, no, he.
I'm sure he
spoilers
does.
for Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Spoilers for anything except for
Anything
Invincible.
ever, because there's no limits on what we might just randomly
Yeah, we're spoiling
jump into.
We're spoiling Buster Scruggs, we're spoiling Big Lebowski, whatever.
Yeah.
You should watch the show. It's okay.
I'm more interested in
It's okay. It's
WandaVision.
pretty good. Yeah,
Right.
yeah. But yeah, back to Invincible. I'd say, in my opinion, it is probably the best superhero show to come out in a very.
I can't think
There
of
was not really
anything
any
I've
good
watched
superhero
recently.
TV. Yeah, I think honestly, yeah, I think it's my favorite.
I like it more
superhero
than
series.
Punisher. I like it more than The Boys.
Yeah, The Boys, which we will get into the comparisons between The Boys and this, and I will, and like you said for the show, it was this really exists is because The Boys has done so well.
Yeah, it only exists. Yeah.
And which is a feather in its cap. I think. I like The Boys. I think it's a good show. Some people obviously are
Very passionate.
split
about
up on that, but I think.
Oh, I can't believe it got political. That's what they say.
Oh well, yeah, no, those people, yeah. Which I mean, it's such a political fucking
I
comic.
know. There's no way.
well,
if it
it-
wasn't
it-
political, that'd been way worse. Or if they pretended it wasn't
Yeah,
political, like the
that was
developers
so
of Call of
tone deaf.
Duty do, which is just so dumb. Do you know what the developers of Call of Duty say?
No.
They say that their games aren't political because they're not like the literal things that happened. Even though a lot of them are set in like real wars, they say like, "Oh no, our games aren't political because this didn't really happen. This has just happened in our story. Like I don't know, in real life there wasn't a real Captain Price or whatever." But it's like no, you're doing this with the background of real wars. Of course you're going to get political with your messaging. Like you cannot avoid it. Just own up to it already. Like it's so dumb. And if by that logic, then other things like 1984 would not be political because that's also not literally something that happened. And like it's so dumb. Anyway.
Well, yeah, you can argue it. You can argue intent versus whatever. But yeah, there is a cool scandal about this show as well. Not scandal, but the controversy of people saying that the comics have been slandered and slaughtered by Robert Kirkman, the writer of the
do they say
comics that are. Yeah, no. Some people are very angry about the fact that they've race swapped some characters and they've mentioned the word feminism.
Oh yeah, grow up. Bloody hell.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, to say about that. Just grow
if there
up.
was any sort of political agenda in the show, like I would be a little more annoyed by it because, I wouldn't be annoyed because.
Yeah, I wouldn't be annoyed either. But people are so like tribalistic and black and white, and they think it's so black and white. Like, because the show has a feminist character in, doesn't mean that the show says they believe with every single facet that character says about feminism. It's like it's a character. They're going to be flawed and have strengths and weaknesses just like real people, and taking it as like gospel anything they say and thinking that anything they say is like the creators telling you, yes, this is what you should think, is really, really stupid. And I genuinely see people do this all the time with like any mildly controversial thing that comes out. It makes my blood boil, to be honest.
Yeah. So the thing. Let's talk about episode 3 then, because episode 1.
Oh, should we go into
The main
spoilers
thing-
now though? Because we have talked about Invincible for about 5 minutes, and we were going for about 20
collectively.
minutes, I think. So yeah.
So yeah.
I don't really have much to say about it, spoiler free, other than it's just really good. And maybe stick with the first episode, even if it seems a little bit bland, like bit retready.
Give it at least to the end
Of the first
before you
episode,
turn
yeah.
it off.
If I mean, yeah,
That's not much to ask.
yeah, it's only like 40 minutes long, and also like, if you get to the end of it and you're still like, whatever, then the show's not going to be for you, and that's probably when you can turn off. We're not asking you to be like a Skyrim player waiting 20 hours for it to get good or something. Like a Final Fantasy.
Still annoyed about that all these years later.
Yeah, no, but sometimes people say like, oh, wait 5 million hours and then it gets okay. Like, no, we're not asking you to do that. Watch the first episode. If by the end of the first episode it's still not for you, then you could just go, all right, that's fine, and then leave it. But if
so the first episode, spoilers, last warning. If you don't want to, if you're entertained by the show, if you're entertained by the idea of the show, please go watch it. It's brilliant. I think it's one of those shows that you need to not get spoiled for you.
That's true.
So first episode, Omni-Man is the Superman analog for the story.
Yes.
So he is, he's got basically the powers about Superman that people really care about besides the heat vision. So the super strength, the 9 invulnerability.
Does he have super hearing?
No, he doesn't have super senses. That's
okay.
explicitly in the comics. That's actually brought up a couple
Oh,
times.
okay, right.
So yeah, he has flight, super strength, a degree of super speed.
Can he maintain super erections?
I mean, ask Sandra Oh, I guess.
Yeah, maybe that. Well, okay, if I ever meet J.K. Simmons in person, I'll ask him that. That's the first thing I'll say. Can you maintain?
J.K. Simmons, the actor, not Robert Kirkman, the creator.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'd share that information. That's the kind of classified stuff they'd share with
This is what
JK.
you need to know. This is your character pack.
Yeah. He wants to get inside the head of the
these
character.
are all the things about the character. Let's talk about. So Omni-Man kills the Guardians in a very brutal way in the first episode.
He kills the Guardians of Ga'Hoole. Before that, the episode is entertaining. I came across like the end of the episode was straight up bad until that point, but it really isn't. Like it establishes a lot of good stuff, and it just like keeps that as like the secret little tone shift like for the end. But as far as everything else, like the general writing is concerned, like the character writing is really strong. You really get a sense of who these people are, like pretty quickly. And I really like how it sets. I told this to you a little while ago, but I really like how it sets up certain like arcs that a typical network show would like set up in the first episode and have as like a season arc for a character. Like with the Flash guy. What's the Flash guy's name? Like the Speed.
Red Rush.
What is it?
Red Rush.
Red Rush. Yeah. So like. The scene before the big fight scene, Red Rush is going on with his like girlfriend, and like they're setting up like him and his girlfriend's like issues they're having. Like obviously he's finding it hard to balance his superhero life and his home life, and she's like concerned that she doesn't mean anything to him because time moves really slowly for him or something like that. I can't quite remember.
So the speech is that he says. He's basically zipping back and forth, and he ends up in the suit, which is it's a nice little thing that happens in the comic as well.
Yeah.
And she gets annoyed at him, and he describes how like he perceives the world in as fast as he moves. So every sentence to him feels like hours, which obviously it would for him. Because he's a parallel to the Flash and stuff like that, they bring this sort of thing out. But like in the Flash comics, he can turn because he has his powers due to the Speed Force,
right?
And so therefore, you can turn off his connection to the Speed Force in that one particular facet or something.
Pretty convenient.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's brilliantly set up because he does. He has this.
Yeah, it feels like this is going to be a thing they're going to keep coming back to in the series.
Like he's going to be like the B plot, like
yeah. It feels like he's going to be like the secondary main character. They're going to go through his all stuff. Like
I'm trying to think. Did they do that in the? I feel like they do that in the Boys, where they set up like a B character that we keep coming back to. Like he's going to be like the Deep.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like they're trying to set up for.
Yeah, but then he just gets killed to see later really brutally. Like that's really creative, like just structurally speaking. And I'm really
and the way they slow it down to like see how like because like what happens in that scene is that he is. The thing of like, so let's go over the Guardians of the Globe. So, so you have like War Woman, the Martian, or something, or whatever his name is.
The Martian.
He's the stretchy guy.
He is quite stretchy, isn't he? Who's it? What, Mr. Fantastic then, mixed with Martian Manhunter, or what?
No, I think he's supposed to be just Martian Manhunter.
Oh, okay, right.
Because he can like shapeshift, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah.
To a degree, I don't think it's as good as Martian Manhunters.
Yeah.
So yeah, you have all those members, and then you have Red Rush, who's the Flash.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, if you go on like, I don't know, who would win Reddits and stuff like that, people really like wank the Flash and stuff like that. But to be fair, his power being super speed and being so much faster, it shows in this show how that would be a detriment to someone like Omni-Man, who is not as.
How does Omni-Man kill him then if he's like so much faster?
So I don't in the comic book, actually, let's go over how he kills them in the comic.
Oh, okay. It's just like a frame, isn't it?
So it's like a page basically of different panels of them just getting their necks snapped. But yeah, so that's how they kill them in the comics, which I think is much more interesting to do this sort of scene, just because you get the like hero versus hero thing.
And it's like a bit more clumsy. It's a bit more. It kind of sells the brutalness. I think if they did just have like a neck snap kind of deal, it would have been very shocking, but I love like the realization of what it's gonna do, Like, because slowly it's like, because Omni-Man's got the Speedster, or Red Rush.
He catches Red Rush.
Yeah,
The way,
in like a
the way he
head
does that,
maneuver. And like,
Red Rush just pushes him out of the way and stuff like that, and then he catches Red Rush finally because he's just fast enough. I think Red Rush keeps going in for punches, which I mean, in that situation, I guess you'd be panicking, but like you're doing nothing to that guy. Like,
he bruises his chest a bit, doesn't he? But it's not.
Well, that's because he's like, like these one. He was like running in, doing one punch, and then running out, which is like, why are you bothering?
Just run away. Yeah.
But, I guess he was panicking.
But I love the realization because the artifice is still kind of there at the beginning, and then it slowly fades away. And you're like, oh, this is what they're doing. Like as you kind of slowly see his eyes bulge out of his head, and his like hands like crumpling against him as he's punching, like really pathetically. Like, and it's just like, wow, okay, this is what they're going for. And then like the actual head crush happens, and then the rest of the scene pops off, and you're like, oh, okay, this is the kind of show I'm watching. This is really cool. You're kind of in shock actually until the end when they're all dead, and then he just kind of like kneels down, and then the actual credits roll.
You're so in shock that you forget to laugh at the bit where you see exactly what would happen if Superman and Batman actually fought, where Batman to a skid mark.
Oh yeah.
Just on the floor. It's just
I forgot about the
ridiculously
Batman
quick.
character. What was his name?
Darkwing.
Darkwing.
His sidekick plays a bit more role later on in the comics,
right?
Because there's a thing called Midnight City where like it's always sort of curse. So Darkwing operates there, so he can do all hours of the day.
Yeah.
Unlike Batman,
right?
Which is kind of it's an obvious parallel, but who cares?
So yeah, that's like what we're talking about. That favorite episode. That probably is my favorite episode, just because like it's just a really good introduction, and then the twist is like it just sets you up really well for what the rest of the show is going to go for, because it never loses its kind of childishness of the first half in a lot of the episodes, because there are like little capers they go on that might have a bit more blood in, but it's still like a relatively well-known comic book thing, like, oh, the aliens coming into the city, let's stay them, and then every few days they have more powers, and then we save them more. Like, that's not a bad thing. It's just like it balances both of them throughout the show, and I think it's really cool that they introduced them both in this first episode. And,
with the Flaxons, who are that becomes a whole other plot line.
Oh, that's episode
later
2.
on in the comic. No, I mean later in the comics, they that becomes like a whole other thing.
Oh, do they come back?
Yeah. So it's like it's really interesting. It doesn't involve the Invincible directly, but it does involve the characters.
Okay.
But I think that's also really interesting when you see Omni-Man go into the Flaxon dimension heading into episode 2.
Oh yeah, he does.
And he just fucking destroys
the
an
whole
entire
society.
Yeah. Which there are consequences later on, but like, my god.
The Flaxons, they did live in a society, and Omni-Man was the base red-pilled incel who dismantled it all, just like the Joker. I think Invincible's kind of the Joker of comic book TV shows, if you think about it.
I hate you.
It's kind of the Dark Souls of comic book TV shows.
That's a pound in the reviewer jar.
Now I have to compare it to like a food of some kind. Like say,
it's like the beef Wellington.
The beef Wellington. It's like the Black Forest Gâteau of French food, especially, is like a real reviewer favorite. Don't know why.
Right. But yeah, I think probably my favorite was 7. I think it really.
7? Oh, what? Wait, is that the one where he's just kind of like flying around Cecil's trying to catch him?
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting episode. The combat in it is really awesome.
Oh yeah. I like how it did not give you any indication what his reasoning was for the Guardians, though, because I there must be like some fans who just like subconsciously assumed that he had a good reason for it, like because he seemed like a really good-natured person up until that moment, and a bunch of fans would obviously just instantly been disenfranchised with him and just been like, oh, okay, this guy is a monster. Let's see how this unravels and how he gets exposed. But there must have been like some fans still like, well, he probably had a good reason for it. He probably, like, maybe they had a secret coup set up or something. He was just stopping something. I don't know. But
yeah, they were going to reveal, like, this whole thing where it was like, oh, the Guardians were the all along. Yeah, so I think that's why they hired J.K. Simmons.
8th episode might be my favourite, actually. I don't know. So
so you're swapping between the first episode and the 8th episode.
So, yeah, episode 1, that stuff happens. Episode 2, there's the Flaxons invade. We get, like, access to some of the other side characters, like, what are they called? The Fight Force or something?
Teen Team.
The Teen Team. Is that what they're named? Teen Team.
Genuine name. I think at some point someone does make fun of it in the comic.
Right.
Yeah, so you get characters like Robot and Atom Eve and stuff like that who
And
are
my favorite character,
Explode.
I don't like Rexplode.
What,
He's a
you don't
good
like
character, but I would not like to meet him, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, he would be a prick to meet, but he's quite fun to watch.
Yeah, he's fun to
Jason,
watch.
Jason
Mantzoukas, yeah.
Yeah, Jason Mantzoukas.
I love
Who's
that
yeah,
actor.
he's perfectly cast for that role, and he is white in the comic. I don't think it matters at
Oh
all.
my god, did they dare do that? Did they
Yeah, I know.
dare make him another race?
It does make it a bit weird in with a bit of a later plot development, but yeah, I think in the comic he is just as big of an asshole.
Right.
He does have some great moments in the comic. If people have read the comic, will know what I'm talking about.
Does he have like serious moments? Because I've never seen that actor do something serious. I don't know how he'd be able to handle it.
He does have a couple serious moments. Yeah,
I'm sure he'd do his
he
best.
he has like a heart, and he has like So yeah, I think the main a lot of people have in this show is the action and all the faithfulness sort of to the comic book, and I think that does that pretty goddamn well. I have reviews saying it doesn't, but I've not seen any sort of like.
I'm sure it captures the spirit, and also like I think they're just trying to adapt it to make it TV friendly, not in terms of like content, but just in structure, like trying to make the episodes structurally make sense for TV.
Oh,
you have to rejig things around a lot. And in doing that, they're obviously not going to keep things 100% accurate to the sequence of events that are in the comics. But I haven't read the comics, to be honest. But I'm sure
exactly.
they did a good job with it. I can't imagine they didn't, otherwise it wouldn't be so good.
Robert Kirkman is literally doing the adaptation, so it's the same guy.
Oh, it's the same guy?
Yeah, it's literally, yeah.
Oh,
it's his. He's doing the show, and he's also writing the comic.
Well, okay, yeah, that gives me more faith in it.
Yeah. So I think they do a brilliant job of doing that, and the stuff that they've moved around. So the robot storyline where he's supposed to be turning. Thank you. Where he's sort of transitioning into being into a copy of Rexplode's body.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Why did you choose Rexplode of all people?
He says in the thing, he noticed that Monster Girl had like a degree of attraction to Rexplode.
Oh, okay.
I think homunculus.
Yeah, he is such a homunculus.
Like a horrible homunculus.
Yeah.
Just like, and that is pretty like comic to screen, pretty much how that's done.
Well, he's a cheeky little homunculus in the book as well.
Yeah, he's a cheeky little homunculus.
That phrase, cheeky little homunculus.
But yeah, I think they're pushing forward the relationship between Robot and Girl, because that does flourish a lot later on in the comics. I don't think that's too much of a spoiler.
I can predict that happening.
But yeah, I think they're pushing it a little bit forward along with this plot line. I think maybe to give a bit of a reasoning to why we're focusing on these, like the Guardians and stuff like that.
Right.
I mean, I think they're an interesting team on their own, but like obviously we want to be like following Mark's story, which the comic does.
I'm more interested in Mark's story, but I'm not like I don't instantly become bored when the Guardians come on the screen. I'm still interested to see what goes on there. But
yeah,
I just like the arc between Mark and his whole family and his friends and what they get up to.
Yeah. What do you think about Mark as a character then?
I liked him. I don't know if I said this to you, but whoever animated the scenes of him working in that fast food place really had definitely worked in fast food before and really knew what it was like to work in fast food. Because
Ethan worked at Burger King for a while, by the way, guys.
because there's like little details where he's like holding the garbage bag with one hand and he goes to the dumpster with the other hand and he like pushes it up, but like he didn't push it up far enough, so it slams back down. He pushes it up again. That exact thing has happened to me multiple times because you just didn't push it hard enough. And I just thought, wow, that person must have worked in a similar place. There's other details as well, but that's the one that instantly hopped out to me. And that was also in the first episode, so I was like, okay, there's a good amount of like actual experience people are putting into this. This is clearly some kind of personal story told by someone, and that kind of what draws me to it a lot of the time, because I don't really care about like superhero shenanigans. It doesn't really.
So it made you relate to Mark the character.
I did relate to Mark the character.
He's gone through my struggle. He's gone through my.
And then I, like Mark, gained superpowers.
Exactly.
and started saving
God.
people. Yeah, but
What I wouldn't get for his powers.
I would
Mark's
probably
character as well.
pay £20 to get his powers.
Good. Yeah, no, I like Marcus' character as well. I think he's interesting. He's got some depth.
The main
Having read
character.
the comic, I know how he, like, progresses and stuff like that. At least in the comics version.
And I like Stephen
So I
Young. He's a
think,
good actor. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
like
he
that.
really is.
So
He's one of Robert Kirkman alumni since he was on The Walking Dead as well.
well, is that
As,
Robert Kirkman? Oh, is that Robert Kirkman novel?
Really? Have you not heard this?
I'd know nothing
Yeah.
about any of this. That's cool. I actually had no idea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Robert
does make
Kirkman did The
sense.
Walking Dead. The comic I like to call it the comic book that I should eventually read, and the show I will never watch.
I was kind of
It's like
interested in
11
maybe watching the
seasons.
first couple seasons because that's where it seems to be like okay, but then like people really, but like it's really outstaying its welcome by like many years at this point, from what I hear. And NBC and AMC just keeps like slashing the budgets as well each new season, even though it's hilariously successful. They keep like adding notes like, can we just hear the zombies instead of see them, so they didn't have to pay for extras to like get kitted out to
Wow.
look like zombies and stuff like that. And it's just like, wow, I think Robert Kirkman left the show because of all that stuff. Because it's just like,
Well, yeah, I suppose,
clearly
I
not
suppose
letting
if
anyone do
you
it.
got a cash cow, you might as well milk it.
Yeah,
I mean,
they really are milking it for everything it's got. I'm kind of interested in maybe watching the first couple seasons maybe at some point. But with a lot of TV shows like this that you know get bad at a certain point, like The Simpsons and stuff, I'm less motivated to start it because I just know that I'll either just have to make the decision, even if I'm still enjoying it, to just go, yeah, I'm not going to watch anymore. Or I'm going to have to just sit there and watch as it slowly turns into like a bastardization of what it used to be. And none of either of those sound very good to me, to be honest. I don't want to intentionally stop watching something if I enjoy it, because that, what if there's more stuff that's good that I'm missing out on because I'm quitting early. But so yeah, stuff like that, it's kind of hard to get into. So maybe I will never watch The Walking Dead, to be honest. Now that I'm thinking about that. It's on my
but
radar.
yeah, I think Mark is an interesting character. I think the way he handles things is very, very true to what a teenager would try to do. Like he tries to juggle the whole being a superhero and having a girlfriend and having his best friend who's openly gay, which he isn't in the comic, and boohoo.
Oh wow! Oh, that's so. How
He
could they
becomes
make
gay.
him
He becomes like gay later in the comic. They just moved up the plot point because, I mean, it really didn't matter.
How could they get so political by having someone that is
Like having a gay.
having one of them? Yeah, that was a satire of a classic comic book gamer. That is not how I think. I want to make that.
No, you're a huge homophobe, obviously.
No.
Yeah, I think the actor of Mark Steven, he does an Adam sounding like a teenager.
Yeah.
I think he does that
Is he
well
not?
enough.
He
I don't think it's like impeccable, but I think it's a very good performance, and
Yeah.
I think he gets that point across.
I don't know if I can't think of any performances I don't like, to be honest. They're all good.
Yeah, I couldn't think of anyone. Also, I think they, having read the comics and stuff like that, which obviously I have to say about a million times.
Yeah.
I think they all fit like the characters. I don't think when I read through the comic, I wasn't like, oh well, these. And I did watch the 3 episodes beforehand, so most of the characters I've read, like the new stuff that got interest. Actually, there is one person who I don't think really fit the character.
Who's that?
I'll get onto him later.
Oh, him.
It's a him. Whoa.
Secret character.
I don't like men.
Okay, great. Anyway, so yeah, what were we on? Episode 2. Episode 2 is cool. Like the Flaxons, they're pretty epic.
Yeah. So episode 3 is the controversial episode for mentioning feminism and women's studies.
What, in like one line?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the character of Doc Seismic, he's a recurring villain. He actually comes around quite often.
Doc's. Oh yeah, I like Doc Seismic.
The guy who's threatening
And
the.
I love how he gives himself a concussion every time he does it, so he just gets progressively less logical the more he does his powers. That's a really funny twist. Like I like how they introduce like some elements of real science into there. Like clearly it's not like scientifically accurate, but when he's like training and his dad is like, when you fly, it's about like using your momentum to keep going, and like most of the time you're just like flying through the air. You're not actually like consciously flying. You just kind of throw yourself in the direction and then you kind of adjust to stay going in that direction. I thought, wow, I never really thought about it like that. That's actually pretty cool. Like little scientific details. like that. Even though obviously
That's not scientific, but yeah.
I guess it's not. I guess it's just like a twist. I don't know what you'd call it. Like just a little adjustment to how I used to think about flying, because I always used to think it's like running but in the air. But no, it's like, no, you just throw yourself and then you make adjustments.
Yeah, you use them to carry you.
Yeah, which is actually pretty
cool.
cool.
I guess it's kind of like how like vultures don't actually like beat their catch catch like heat and stuff like that, and they soar like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Doc Seismic, he attacks the Mount Rushmore, sorry, the monument there. He complains about how people are worshipping former slave owners and stuff, and
that got controversial. Everyone was like, "Oh no, I can't believe you."
Yeah, I know. I mean, who cares?
Maybe we should.
I feel like I have a thing of I don't think you should judge people based on the current standards of our time. I think that's it was widely accepted.
How many slaves would you own if you were in the 1700s?
Well, personally, I don't know. Your family at one point was slaves, Mr. Williams.
I probably was. Yeah.
Meaning owned by William.
Wait, I thought it meant servant, not slave.
Well, either or.
Yeah. Lower class.
Define the difference. Yeah.
Not the highest class people.
You got to see some of Atom Eve's powers. Her powers.
She seems really OP to me. She could just change atoms. Can't she just change the atoms in Omni-Man to explode him or something?
They do talk about this in the comics. No, she cannot. She has mental blocks in place where she can physically do it, but her brain doesn't allow her because she was created in a lab where she is. Where the guy who gave her the powers and stuff like that put the blocks in her and use them on organic matter. So yeah, I think she's an interesting character as she gets on later into the series, and I'm excited to see how they take her arc and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on to
4, right?
If you want to talk about Omni-Man, this is how I have it formatted on my
cool.
on my notes.
Right.
So overall, I think Omni-Man was a pretty excellent casting with J.K. Simmons. I've said this already, but he does that. Yeah, he does that. That divide between complete fucking sociopath.
Yeah.
To sort of
I love where
figure.
He goes at the end, the way he is just irredeemable completely. What he says about how his mum is just like a pet to him, basically. It kind of is accurate because how would you, if you were born on a planet where everyone is so far above humans, how would you feel if you went to a planet with a clearly inferior species? Maybe you would just consider them to be like pets. I don't necessarily blame him for that. But obviously, I do blame him for everything else he does. It's very psychopathic and fascist. Very fascist. Oh, no, we're not going to get political. Okay, let's talk about how Omni-Man is Superman's fascism taken to a whole next level.
Well, there are versions of Nazi Superman and stuff like that, and so it's not it's not the most. It's not the hottest thing in the world,
okay, like movie Superman taken to the next level with fascism. Because did Superman team up with Hitler at some point?
Not actual
Superman,
but alternate universe Superman where the Nazis won World War II, because that's every alternate universe apparently.
In Lego DC Supervillains, the Superman that comes through from the other dimension is a fascist.
Oh, I thought you meant I thought he was a Nazi. I was
no, I think it's that would have been really bold for Lego DC Supervillains to have Nazi characters in it. That
you have to explain that to a child. What is that?
You have to explain race relations. You have to explain
the entirety of the Holocaust. Great detail.
So it definitely happened, kid, but 6 billion?
Oh, wow. That might get us banned So with Omni-Man, I think, his arc throughout the series is really interesting. I think the way he is shown explicitly in episode 5, where...
When's episode 5?
Where Invincible and Titan are going to fight Machine Head, and you can see that Omni-Man is present above Machine Head's penthouse or whatever. So he's do you remember that bit where it cuts out to a wide shot and you can see Omni-Man is floating there?
Yeah.
That. And then just after that happens in episode 5, there is the Guardians show up, and it says an anonymous tip took us there, and I think a lot of people miss that. But that's where Omni-Man has obviously called Cecil and said, "Hey,
Oh, he
some
just
dumbasses."
Omni-Man put in an
Yeah.
anonymous tip
Yeah, I guess.
instead of
I don't know
helping
how
himself.
he did it. Because
Yeah.
I mean, apparently he's constantly under watch and surveillance by Cecil.
Oh,
He
that's
just-
true. Maybe he was scared of. Well, maybe he didn't do it himself because he was terrified of the furry bait character.
Right. Okay. Let's talk about Battle Beast then.
Battle Beast.
My favorite character, and no, it's not because I'm a furry. I'm not a furry.
So you think?
I'm not gonna. Oh yeah, sure. He's not a furry bait character. He becomes really, really cool later on, and anyone who's read the comic will know what I mean. But yeah, he is my favorite character. I think out of all of the Invincible alumni. Yeah, he becomes just absolutely great later on, and there was a great line.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, what's the line?
I read in the comments of one of the YouTube videos of like I rewatched the fight between him and Invincible,
okay.
and it says it's kind of like Kingpin hiring Thanos to protect his like drug ring.
That's true.
Battle Beast is like a complete fucking heavy hitter. Like he can trade blows with like Omni-Man and like the best of them, and he's just kicking the shit out of people.
Yeah, he only appears very briefly again at the end, right?
Yeah, you see like a little cut back to him, and he's like doing stuff. But yeah, his whole character is he's like he's a race of alien, but like they look like huge lion people, and they're really cool. But he's like possessed by like a spirit of battle or something like that, if I remember correctly. And he's super powerful and stuff like that. And he just wants to kill and fight all the time. And eventually he wants to fight until he can find someone.
Oh, I know why you like him now. He just reminds you of the Doomslayer. Anything that reminds you of Doom, you smash that like
yeah, that actually makes sense.
To be fair, he's awesome. Like, he's really, I'm really excited to see him again. Clearly, the developers know that he's a cool character though, because they kind of teased him again at the very end. They were like, "Oh, this guy's still in the mix."
I think, as far as I know, he's a fan favorite because, of course, he is.
Yeah,
Battle Beast. But yeah, I don't. This is the person's voice actor I don't really like the most. It's the guy who voiced. I imagined his voice a bit more like growly and a bit more, animalistic.
Who is the voice?
The guy who played Worf in The Next Generation. I forget his name. Ezra Miller. No.
Ezra Miller.
Oh, Michael Dorn.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure who that is. I don't know. Obviously, the comics. You could have pitched it to him yourself, because I didn't have any problems with Waves. I think they were kind of going for like a. What's the main guy in The Lion King called? The main dad.
The Lion King. Oh, Mufasa.
Scar. Mufasa. He kind of went for a Mufasa thing, but like evil. Like he's.
Yeah. Like Scar, sort of.
Yeah, Scar, but Scar's like really like.
Jeremy Irons.
Scheming. Yeah, Jeremy Irons.
Scar is Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, but he's like trying to go for like a noble kind of evil. I think. I think he got that for me really well. What would you prefer?
I think Battle Beast is like the way he's written in the comics. He's just always like a constantly snarling and shouting like monster.
Oh,
basically.
so he's just like a primordial rage kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. He's like just constant rage and shit like that, which I think is
that would have been a good, interesting take because I didn't.
It's just like complete maniac just running through like I will destroy all of you.
So
just like no chill at all.
So, but I guess they did that because in this scene. He like stands over Invincible and like takes a few seconds, then like hits him one final time, and then he kind of like cools off for a second. The way you're describing the comic book character kind of feels like he would just keep punching him until he was like literally nothing, like just
until he was just pasted on the floor.
So yeah,
he gets pretty close to that, I think, in the comics. I haven't reread that section recently,
right?
But I think it gets pretty close to in the comics. Him just like completely killing Invincible because and there's no Omni-Man around, but the Guardians do show up, if I remember.
Okay.
And he does the same thing to them. He puts there's another member of the Guardians who isn't on the current team, but he's called Bulletproof.
Right.
And he does the same thing. He basically does what he did to Monster Girl to Bulletproof.
Oh, okay. Oh, where like his bone is like sticking out?
Oh, not exactly. He just like beats the shit out of him and puts him in a coma.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So Monster Girl isn't actually injured, so you don't really have that arc. Well, she's not injured as badly as those two. So
That might have been my favorite episode, actually. Every time you mention new one, I really like the. I love Machine Head. I think he's an amazing.
yeah, I
character.
think Machine Head is a really interesting character.
That's probably my personally favorite.
Interesting gimmick.
Yeah, yeah. I'm glad he's only in one episode because I'm not sure if he was like the series villain. I'm sure it would have gotten old within a few episodes. Yeah, but have him as like a one-off, quirky kind of character that did his thing. I really enjoyed it.
Jeffrey Donovan, the voice there. Yeah, he's not. I didn't. He was a real like bit part in the comics, so I didn't expect him to be as memorable as he was.
Oh,
I didn't really. They didn't do the classic thing that comics do, where they do like when Iron Man's talking, they have like a lightning bolt kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
To like show like static, so like it's talking through like machinery. So they didn't really have that. At least I don't think they did.
Right.
So I didn't really give him like a metallic voice in my head. I thought he just spoke like a guy.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that's a really little fun character quirk to like differentiate him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think this was this part in the comics. I think is, I think Titan's story arc. So like the Rock guy, he comes in actually a lot later.
Right.
Well, not a lot later. I think he's probably like issue 30 or something, or issue 40 if I remember correctly.
I like that guy as well. He's in the first episode, isn't he?
Yeah, no, he's in the first.
Very
he's
briefly.
like one of the first crimes that Invincible stops.
Yeah.
He's that in the comic, and he's also that in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's sort of like called back to. The thing that Robert Kirkman did really well in the comic is setting up a million different subplots. So like you see that a little bit with the Martians and stuff like that, like being like possessed and everything with the Mars mission and stuff.
Right.
So
they kind of set up at the end as well. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah, no, that becomes like an ongoing sort of threat later on in the comic. I'm not sure how they're going to deal with it in the show.
Pretty lousy luck getting put right next to a planet that has this horrific parasitic virus that kills the entire planet.
Yeah.
And then
So next,
yeah,
the next character I got down is Cecil Stedman.
Oh.
I think he's brilliantly voiced by Walton Goggins,
yeah,
who is the stupid one in Ant-Man and the Wasp, the stupid
and
FBI agent,
and the Colonel in the Hateful Eight, and he's like a neo-Nazi in
real life.
Not in real life. TV show. Oh, I've forgotten the name of the TV show. It's really good. Yeah. We're calling you out.
I think it's an excellent job voicing Cecil. I think Cecil, as a character, I really like him in the comic books. He's just like that. He's a very like sort of, in a way, cliche sort of grubby like higher up who's like willing to do anything to get like needs to be done. Yeah. But he's given like enough like gimmicks, and I think they especially expand on him in this show, where he's a bit more brave, and he's not like he puts himself out there. He's brave in the comic books. That's not he's not like a coward, but he puts himself out there more, like in the episode 8 where he teleports out to stop Omni-Man personally and buy just like 30 seconds of time from this like godlike being.
There's a lot of dangers. Well, Omni-Man can move very fast, and he waits until the last second to teleport to the next spot.
I think there's a theory that was like a proximity thing.
It could have been. I wouldn't be surprised.
So it's based down to him being like, like clicking.
Yeah. It's all based on his like little muscle reflexes, whether he just gets torn to shreds by Omni-Man.
Yeah.
But I don't really have many thoughts on him. I just think he's a good character.
I think he's a really interesting character. I think maybe it's because I've read the comic. I have more perspective on these characters,
probably.
so I think they're more.
I'm sure maybe later on he'll get developed a bit more into something I find more interesting.
I like what he's doing with D.A. Sinclair as Ramilla's character, with the Rihanna men.
Who's D.A. Sinclair?
Do you remember the evil scientist? Who's at the university?
Was that Ezra Miller?
Yeah, Ezra Miller voicing that character.
Sick. Okay. Yeah.
He only voices it for one episode though, because I assume he's got other things. But like, because he's silent in every other episode.
Right. Yeah. I like that.
He's so good in that movie. He's like, "What's brunch? What is brunch?
Justice League.
I don't understand." Fucking.
You want to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League for like an hour? Have you seen it?
I haven't. No, I haven't. Actually, I need to.
You should.
I need to watch it.
I don't really enjoy it, but I think you should
Really?
just because I want to know what you think about it. Even though it's like 4 hours long. I didn't really enjoy it. It's better than the original, for sure.
Oh God, yeah.
100 times better.
Most forms of cancer is better than the original.
But it has, and it has like advantages. Like the Flash is way less annoying in this one than he was in the original one.
Because, is he not like brunch?
Yeah, he still does that stuff, but because the original one, the pacing in the original one is so fast, it's like 2 hours long, or just under 2 hours, I think, and they get through so many events that when Flash just stops everything going on for like a minute, ranting about brunch or whatever, it feels so like they just ground it to a halt. Yeah, for no reason. But because this one is like 4 hours long, the pacing is much more slower and more thought out. Even though I don't really like it, but I can at least say that for it. Because of that, it doesn't feel as excruciating because it's just like, oh, okay, this kind of just feels a bit more natural because the pacing was never that fast to begin with. Yeah, so that is a good thing.
Yeah,
in general, it still has horrible pacing problems. Like it really drags. Like
I mean, it's a 4-hour movie.
Yeah, but yeah, it's 4 hours. But I think they probably could have structured it more like a mini series, and probably should have split it up. To be honest, yeah, I think they should have. To be honest, it's such an ask to get people to just sit down for 4 hours and watch something.
Yeah,
and it doesn't feel like it was made for that.
Yourself like a mini series, you could just sit down for an hour and then then leave for the next day.
I guess you could. That's probably what some people did. But if it's not being packaged that way, I don't think you can really expect everyone to.
Right. So, what do you think about what do you think about the Guardians of the Globe? Do you like the team?
The one before they got killed, or the one after like, at the end of the show? I think they're good. I like them.
Any of the characters interest you at all?
I like. Yeah, I guess I don't really care about like the shrinking woman or the duplicating
shrinking
girl.
Ray, who is a dude in the comics again.
Well, I cannot believe they did that.
I don't think anyone is out crying about shrinking Ray, to be honest.
In real life, women could not do things.
Could not physically shrink.
Yeah, they could not physically shrink. So sorry, that's unrealistic.
But yeah, I think maybe Shrinking Ray is another comic, but from the Invincible read, he's not a very he's integral character.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, he's got like Ant-Man powers or whatever. And I think they do an interesting. The design is basically the exact same, except for it's just a woman. So
I don't really care about Black Samson either. He's just like a pretty good character. Like I don't.
Black Samson. Yeah, I did want to bring this up. Black Samson, the comics, is a bit more interesting because at the funeral of the Guardians of the Globe is actually crashed by Black Samson's servant, who has stolen. He's not in the show. Okay. He's stolen Black Samson's armor. He uses because he hasn't got powers anymore, which he got from art in the comics, but I don't know if he gets it in that from the show. And he tries to kill the Guardian. He wanted to kill the Guardians of the Globe because of how they made his how they made Black Samson, like they just kicked him out. Yeah. after he couldn't do anything anymore. So like there's this like I think he's Vietnamese or something like that, like a Vietnamese like butler who's like just shooting up like the funeral with like these arm golems and stuff, and it's like, oh god.
I'd watch that.
Like he's immediately stopped.
Oh yeah, of course.
They never come back to him, by the way. Like I think there's like a scene where like their Black Samson visits him in prison, right. And after that, they just never seen again.
I feel like why even have guns in this universe? They're so
I guess that guy just like, I guess that guy just like rots in prison then forever.
Yeah, probably. That's pretty funny. Wait, so what were we at? Episode 5? Or
we're going through sort of characters.
Yeah.
So you've already said you like Rexplode.
I like him. I'm a fan.
Yeah, I like his spunk, his personality.
He does have a lot of spunk. And he likes throwing it around everywhere he goes. He does literally like putting it around everywhere he goes as well.
Throwing a lot of stuff around.
Yeah.
Yeah, his powers are kind of interesting. He has like basically Gambit powers.
Yeah. I just like he's kind of. I feel like he's a much more accurate representation to what heroes would actually be like. He's just kind of like a douchebag.
Yeah, he's like a mini version of the Boys comic in one character.
Yeah, he kind of is. Like obviously in real life, heroes would be absolute narcissists. I don't think this show obviously isn't going for that kind of commentary. I don't think, but.
Not nearly as much. It's not like superheroes aren't like celebrities in this world. They're just like
they're just kind of like policemen.
It's a Marvel DC kind of thing. It's not a
they're not trying to say this is what superheroes would be like in the real world. It's his own world.
Oh, sorry.
Story.
It's not a Harley Quinn the show kind of thing. Like where they make it a very explicit comparison, whereas like they're literally on talk shows and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know why they haven't put in Bulletproof. As a character, he's
might be saving him for something.
So yeah, the storyline with Bulletproof later on in the series is he has like a twin brother who is like this crazy scientist or something, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. And his parents like really favored the twin brother because he was
Right.
like academically minded and stuff like that, and he went to like medical school and stuff.
Okay.
And so they like really favored him, and they were like talking to it. They were like really overloaded his ego and stuff like that. And Bulletproof himself, he went to art college and stuff like that.
Oh
But what
no.
happens is,
I don't know
yeah,
where
I
this
know,
is going.
going to liberal arts college. No, what happens is the brother starts trying to experiment, and I think that's what gives Bulletproof his powers.
Yeah.
And then the brother ends up killing. Bulletproof ends up killing his brother.
Whoa,
And
where's
then he
that?
has to, because he's doing horrible experiments on him.
Oh wait, so does an experiment go wrong and he just uncontrollably kills him, or what? Is it
I
like a
think-
conscious decision?
I'm not sure. I don't quite remember. It might have been.
Right.
But yeah, that happens. And so he pretends to be the twin brother.
Yeah.
So he is like, hey, I'm. So to his parents, he puts on
Oh,
his brother's
okay,
glasses and stuff like that. And so his parents think that the brother's still alive. And so he pretends to be who they are, that person and stuff.
Yeah.
He tells his parents, hey, I'm going to be Bulletproof. Actually, yeah, Bulletproof does take on the mantle of Invincible later on in the series.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Wait,
when
does Mark die?
No. Mark. Well, spoilers. He
Yeah.
doesn't die.
Okay.
But later on in the series, he's not doing hero stuff for a while because he's off doing some other stuff. So, Invincible, they do that sort of. He starts playing as Invincible.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is interesting. Weird that they've taken that out. I'm surprised. But
I'm sure. I think what they're gonna do is season 2, episode 1. He's gonna be the character they start off with. They're gonna do his little story to like kick it off.
that's an idea.
Because that like little structurally contained story, it sounds almost like a sitcom sketch. He accidentally kills his brother and starts impersonating him.
Well, yeah, he kills his brother, impersonates him, and then the parents eventually find out.
Yeah.
His parents start like stuff like that and saying this sort of thing. They don't believe him. And then he ends up accidentally killing his parents as well.
What have I done now? Audience laughter comes in.
It's not really like played too much for laughs. Like it's still quite serious. But, like I did laugh a little bit because it was like, oh god, Jesus,
Is he
dude.
Seinfeld? What's going on with him?
I think his girlfriend ends up killing his mother or something like that by accident. Okay. But obviously his parents are complete shitheads to him, so he obviously. And then he pushes their car off a cliff to make it look like they died falling off a cliff.
Right. Yeah.
Which is fucked up, but
That's crazy.
So yeah, I think maybe they will. Maybe they will do that. That's from how I described it. I think that's
because that little self-contained story, and then it could have him like joining the Guardians or something. I'd be happy with that. That sounds cool.
But yeah, the last person I wanted to go over was just Amber. I think she's interesting. I think she's probably more interesting here than she is in the comics. She is white in the comics.
How dare they?
Exactly.
Take one of us to make them one of them. Wow. Joke.
Yeah, you have to say joke.
I do have to say
That's right out in core.
Yeah. I like Amber. She does some things
You said take one of us and turn it into one of them.
So who's them
Do you
in
find
this
that
situation?
funny, Mr. Williams?
You see, that's not funny. You see, Murray, I think it is funny. That's my Joker backstory.
Right. Right. So let's get into our critiques of the series.
Hate it.
They're very few and far between.
Okay, yeah. So I do have one that's very common when nerds complain about TV shows, like comic book movies and stuff, which is that sometimes I am pretty unclear about how powerful each character is, and it's a bit hard to get in on the stakes of fights sometimes. Like when some of it it's really good and it's done for like certain purposes, like when the flipping Battle Beast comes in and he's suddenly like really powerful and you aren't expecting it. That's really cool because you didn't know what he was until he just like beat Invincible.
He's a major heavy hitter.
That was really cool. I like that bit, but sometimes it's a bit unclear when like he's in the sewers fighting those people that he's experimented on.
Reanimate.
Yeah. When he's in the sewers fighting those guys, I I wasn't sure how powerful they were, and sometimes it kind of flip-flops between, like, sometimes you can just take, like, 3 of them out really easily, but then 2 more will jump on him and be able to hold him down for, like, 10 seconds. And it feels a bit like I'm not sure what the angle of this fight is, like, what the stakes are, what, like, how concerned should I really be for Invincible right now.
Yeah, it's weird with the Reanimen specifically. I always found it weird because in the comics they also give him a pretty good run for his money.
Right.
And like later on, like Mark is constantly getting stronger through the comics. So later on he fights more. And he's fighting like a whole room of them and trying to kill them.
Right.
But like they're just men who are like slightly powered up by, you know, I mean, metallic parts. Like they're corpses. Yeah. I don't really get how they're supposed to be like battling with like Omni-Man and stuff like that. Like surely with how he gets that pilot's head in the 8th episode.
Yeah.
Which I don't think we've covered enough.
Especially because Omni-Man can literally survive like nuclear blast levels of
well, yeah, he fights that kaiju.
Yeah, he fights the kaiju, and then like they say like this is the most powerful like laser attack weapon we have, which is the big satellite. And
it's like the hammer.
Yeah. And they hit him with it, and like he has a nosebleed, and he just continues walking. Basically, I feel that's a bit inconsistent because in the earlier scene when he's fighting the Guardians of the Globe, they pretty much kill him almost, and that's just with like punches and stuff. Like, how does that almost kill him, and then this enormous laser just gives him a tiny little nosebleed? He barely cares. Maybe it's dependent on his level of rage. I don't know. Maybe because like by that point he's just so angry that he just doesn't care about a huge nuclear blast. I'm not sure.
Maybe he's more susceptible to like brute force attacks as opposed to like lasers and stuff. Possibly. I think that's probably one of the reasons. But yeah, I don't think the Reanimen should be nearly as much of a problem as they are. Yeah, because like 3 of them hold back Omni-Man for like a decent while.
I know, that's what I was thinking about. Yeah.
Because like the way he like destroys that pilot's skull, surely he should be able to do that to the it's not like they're all metal, and even if they were, you know, it doesn't make a difference. So, there's a bit later where a Viltrumite literally destroys 400 tons of solid steel. So it's not like they are not. Yeah, well, they are. I mean, imagine a whole planet of Supermen, basically.
They're crazy.
Yeah, there's some really interesting stuff that goes on later with the Viltrumites and stuff, which I am very excited to see.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you wanted some spoilers, but I'm not gonna spoil the people at home.
I'd rather actually keep that. I want to know. I kind of want that to be revealed when it comes
and also I don't know necessarily if that's the way they're going to go with it, but it seems like it will. There were occasional points, and I did notice this. It's rare, but it's the point where it's noticeable, and I'd like to bring it up. There are some like slightly poorer animation points than the rest, and I know that's like just inherent with animation, but like there are some noticeable bits where like Omni-Man I think was drawn at like quite a low poly count or whatever you call it, where like he's like where like you can see him on the screen for like a full second and he's like not really drawn in very much detail.
Okay.
But yeah, I think there are some noticeable points where it's like
that stuff I'm really easy to forgive though, because I don't blame you for that. It's just like, it was a little budgetary issue. Probably they had to.
I think with Amazon money though.
With Amazon, yeah, I think that's a critique on the businessmen behind it. You know, like they probably just didn't give them all the resources they fully needed. I don't think it's so much critique on the people making the show itself, but both are fair games. So yeah.
Yeah. That's really the only thing I had. All of the I covered my slight. Very slight, because I do like Michael Dorn and I like his powerful voice and everything. I don't think it's that
you
jarring.
You just would have preferred if they went with a slightly different direction. Do you think his power level is over 9,000?
Possibly. I mean, power levels mean nothing in Dragon Ball. I read like I got linked to forum post one time where I was arguing like, Jiren couldn't beat some. I don't care.
Jiren can't beat Beerus. I think he couldn't.
I think Beerus is a character, isn't
he? Who?
Beerus is a character. He's like a Sphinx cat.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. I don't know his name.
Yeah, his name's
I'm not
Beerus.
a huge Dragon Ball fan. Or an
Neither am I. Pop culture osmosis has brought me these things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went over the political controversy basically. I think one point I wanted to bring up.
Political controversy is grow up.
Yeah, exactly. My one point about it was Doc Seismic is quite clearly a jokey sort of character who's kind of a fucking loser, and the fact that he studies women's studies and like he's saying these things about the thing, like they're not. It's not like they're showing someone who's like upright and morally upstanding and being like a role model to the community, and then they have these.
Yeah, you have to consider perspective of the character.
Showing this person's a fucking loser.
Yeah,
like,
it's like when it's like when it's in It's Always Sunny, right? They have some episodes where the characters are in blackface, right? They're like. They do like a Lethal Weapon parody, and Mac puts on like shoe polish to be one of the Lethal Weapon people because they're making a sequel. And Netflix took it off. I can't find any examples of people getting angry at it. But every single time it was used, like in Peep Show, every single time it was used, it was from the perspective of, look how dumb it is to use blackface. Why would you ever... Like, the characters are the idiots for using it. And it was never like, this is a black person, but it's played by a white person. It's not like the character is black. It's the character is playing another character that's black. And so the character feels they need to put on blackface to do it. And that's like part of the joke of how...
And they're an asshole.
Yeah,
and completely
and you shouldn't listen to them.
Reprehensible person.
Yeah, like... the context is very important. It's like in a
it's not like when like Justin Trudeau wore it to like a
no, because he was just pretending to be a black person. Like
the joke, the joke isn't haha look, this guy's pretending to be a black person. The joke is haha look, that guy's a fucking asshole and an idiot.
Whereas from Trudeau's perspective, it was just the joke is haha look, I'm a black person. You know?
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. So that's why that's. In my opinion, at least, and I'm not defending blackface in any sort of way like that, but like I'm saying, in that
I'm defending it in the case of It's Always Sunny and Peep Show because context shows that it's much more.
I mean, I don't
subtle.
like censoring, and I think anything can be made. I think you can make a joke about anything as long as the joke's good.
True, so
but I don't think that there is. I don't care too much. I mean,
I only care when it comes to things I like, and the fact that I watch them on Netflix, and now I have to skip over episodes I like because Netflix got cowardly about it. That's what I care about. Anyways, me.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to last sort of like closing points here. Where does the show go from here? I think I've read an interview with Robert Kirkman who said after season 2 and season 3 got confirmed by Amazon. That he is sort of like he's looking at it and he's saying he's got a sort of a plan to be able to do the 144 issue arc of Invincible in 5 to 7 seasons.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, that's cool that he has an idea because when they don't have an idea of when it will end, they're not planning for the ending. Usually that means they're just gonna see if they can do it forever, which just leads to like sitcoms like slowly dying, like in The Office. Like where they're just hemorrhaging characters and they just have to keep it limping on forever because they want to keep it going forever. It's nice that they have the idea of the ending.
He did also say in the same interview that he could get it going beyond that.
Okay, right.
So he was going to keep it going further along, but I'm not sure how that might just be him saying that just to be like, oh, it's open-ended.
Yeah, it's probably to keep the fans excited.
But one other thing I wanted to say is I saw an article talking about how Omni-Man's plan doesn't make that much sense unless you read the comics.
He's trying to become an empire.
What did you think his plan was?
His plan was to be a colonialist, right? Like make Earth part of the Viltrum Empire. Like just being basic British person in the 10 series of years from 10
unironically British. British.
He was being unironically British.
Oh, it's fucking Tuesday, innit? Well, we've got to watch it for that, mate.
He was pretty much just I think he was just trying to colonialize Earth, right? That's what.
Yeah, that's the sort of basic gist of it. Yeah, basically the Viltrumites are a warlike people and stuff like that. And we didn't talk about Alan the Alien, Seth Rogen's character.
I like him.
He's a fun character. He is another fan favorite from the series. I think he gets a significant power up later on as well.
Yeah,
and all that sort of thing. And he's a really interesting. Well, he's not really interesting. I keep saying really interesting when I mean I like the character.
Yeah, there's a difference, but.
Yeah, there is a difference, but I do like interesting characters, but I also do like characters just when they're one note and Battle Beast.
And Battle Beast. I like what's his face, Alan the Alien. It's a funny name.
Yeah, Alan the Alien. Also, Seth Rogen is doing possibly a live action version of Invincible, and that's why he's kind of like
What?
executive producing this show.
What do you mean he's doing a? Are they doing a live action?
That's what I've heard. I've heard they're doing a plans to do a live action.
Wow. Okay, they're really. That's pretty. Like,
going all in on this.
ambitious, isn't it? Yeah, multimedia kind of thing.
I'm not sure how they're. Yeah, I'm not sure how you're gonna like do that.
If
really.
they do it,
obviously they can do Superman like stuff.
There are loads of characters. They might could just do like a spin-off and like sell it as its own.
Oh yeah, you could do a whole spin-off. There's loads of Image Comics characters, you know, like Spawn and stuff like that. And Invincible in the comics does cross over with Spawn occasionally, and people like Savage Dragon and stuff.
Nice.
But it's weird because because in Image Comics specifically, the comic company doesn't own own the characters. Mm-hmm. The person who made the characters owns the characters, so it's not like Marvel and DC where like they can do like where they can do like crossovers and stuff. So if they're gonna have some of the later on events, which are like like worldwide spanning, it's gonna have some characters like noticeably absent probably because giving out royalty checks or stuff like that is probably not gonna be allowed. Yeah, like Spawn or like Savage Dragon or I think the Brit probably. I'm not sure if he's a Invincible character, but he hasn't shown up. Yeah, he becomes part of the Guardians of the Globe and stuff. I'm not sure if he's.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, he's called the Brit. He's like a short kind of like stout. Have you seen Have you read Old Man Logan?
Oh, I know of. I know Old Man Logan.
You know how Logan looks in that comic? That's basically what the Brit looks like, and he's an Englishman and he's literally his power is that he's completely indestructible.
Like any Brit is.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, famously indestructible. Yeah, that makes sense.
Can you? Are we doing closed captions on this? Because it's just like Cockney blabbering.
If I did closed captions, it would take literally 20 hours of work. So I mean, probably not.
Okay, fair enough. Can you do one closed caption, and that's all you get? Just
Cockney garble. That'd be the only thing for the entire.
Right, apples and pears, fucking whip.
All right,
but yeah, I think that's all we really have to say. Invincible, great show.
I like how the more blood gets thrown on the logo each episode.
Oh yeah, I like them not putting in Invincible. I think like saying the word Invincible.
Oh yeah, they say like sometimes it's a bit jarring. I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but there was once or twice I was like, it kind of just interrupted the scene in a way that was just a bit weird. I know what they were going for.
It's always following a scene cut though, so it would have just cut to a different thing.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like, you gotta be to stop that, you'd have to be Invincible. But
I think my name's gonna be
Invincible. No, I enjoyed that. I think overall I'd give it like a 3 out of 10.
No, genuine rating, come on.
I don't know, I find it hard to rate TV shows. I don't really
same.
do it. I think because they're so long and they have so many like ups and downs as it goes along, it's hard to put it into one metric.
I think I'm gonna have to give it, and this is really rare, guys. Promise me. I know this is the first time I've ever rated anything, but I'm gonna have to give it a perfect score. I think 10 out of 10. Nothing in it is bad to the point of me not wanting to.
For me, I don't rate it based on. I think mine like starts at a 5 by default, and then if it impresses me in some aspect, it goes up 1 point, and if I'm disappointed by one aspect, it goes down a point.
Well, no, even if I did that, I could easily find
five major things to get up to a 10.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just like the cast point, the animation point, even if it is ever so slightly bad in a couple places, but I think that's maybe because the show didn't have quite enough confidence in it. I think that'll be patched up by second season.
And also, like the violence animation is awesome.
Oh, absolutely. The faithfulness of the comic point, the characters being excellent, etc. I think that is a perfect rating. As the first season of Invincible is complete, it's comprehensive, it captures the African American experience.
The African American experience.
That's a reference to Falcon and the Winter Soldier that you don't get. But
what happens in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier? Does someone capture an African American?
They're talking about the album Trouble Man.
What is that?
By Marvin Gaye.
Is that? Oh, damn it! Wait.
You don't know Marvin Gaye, Ethan.
Oh, I don't know Marvin Gaye.
Ethan is comprehensive, is complete. It captures the African American experience. He's out of line, but he's right.
I'm not aware of Invincible capturing the African American experience, but I'm willing to bet
It captures the teen superhero experience, probably.
It probably does.
I mean, yeah.
Do you have anything else to say?
Not really. I just go watch the show if you've listened to this and haven't watched it already. Go rewatch it. Tell us what you thought in the comments. Obviously, help the algorithm. Yeah, no. Just don't vote Labour. Fuck them.
I wanted to make it explicitly political at the very end, in case there was any doubt either way.
Oh right, so we're a political channel. If you want to hear more of me on Ethan's channel, then please harass him day and night. His Twitter handle is no, I'm kidding.
I don't actually. I don't have a Twitter because it's
do leave a comment if you want to hear some more of me.
And leave a comment if you.
Maybe I'll do a video on his channel that isn't just us thing, or maybe I'll do a video essay. You never know.
Who knows? I'm open to any kind of new experience, whether it be channel related or homosexual related.
We both went for the same place.
I think
I was going to say anal, but I thought I was too open.
That's too vanilla. All right. I think in the end, all we have to say is Invincible, more like in bad.
Grab that gem, guys. We'll see you next week.
Editing Ethan here. I realised I didn't give it a rating other than 3 out of 10, which is clearly a joke. So I don't know, 8 or 9. Bazinga!